Loop, London, 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 London.
This is Loop London Radio.
Hello, Bloop fam. You are tuned in to Bloop London Radio and the Urban Soundscapes show, here with me, Redfreya, and my guest today, Meltem Yazar. Shortly, we'll be getting into a chat with her about her very exciting music career to date, upcoming releases, so get locked for the next hour. So, as I've said, I am here in the studio live, Central London, with Meltem Yazar. Welcome, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Freya.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have you as part of the show. I'm just trying to make sure that I put the music quiet in the background. Oh yeah, that's better. Technical difficulties. I'm just gonna turn the channel down. Wait. I'm just gonna turn it down a bit because I can hear it. Okay, that's better.
Okay.
That's better. Let's get started. So we're here with Meltem Yazar. Anybody who came to the last Redfreya and Friends, which was a few weeks ago at Dalston Roof Park, we had you also playing on that lineup. I honestly, like, since I came across your music, I've become like such a huge fangirl, and I'm like tiny bit obsessed with you. I'm so excited to have you here today. So
I'm very excited to be here as well.
Yeah.
Likewise.
So I will let you first of all introduce yourself to the people listening to the show before I sort of try and tell people like introduce yourself basically to the people.
Okay, sure. Yeah, my name is Meltem Yazar. I sometimes use my as a DJ name as well, or you can call my Mimi, whatever you want to call. I'm a DJ and producer. I'm originally from Istanbul, Turkey, but I've been living in London for the last almost 10 years now. Yeah.
And you have been involved in music for your entire life, pretty much since you're a kid. You've grown up in a kind of musical environment, and then you have studied music, professionally. Like you've studied it in university, in different sort of factors, and now you find yourself as like an electronic music producer. What was your first experience with your early experiences with music? Like, what drew you to wanting to play instruments? How did you get into this musical path?
It's gonna sound probably typical, but I was like surrounded in a very musical environment. My father was really into music, and he was playing multiple instruments from guitar to saz. Saz is a plucked instrument, Turkish, popular Turkish instrument, and also keyboard. So he got me a keyboard, and because I was really interested, and I was just whatever I was hearing, I was trying to kind of improvise it on a keyboard. So yeah, that's how I started, and then probably they saw my interest, and then I started taking some piano lessons, and I tried different instruments. Violin, I was really bad at it. Then I was really interested in the drums, so I started learning the drums when I was in high school, and I continued when I was at uni as well, and I was singing as well in the rock bands, and actually punk band as well, electronic punk band.
And it's really interesting. And then after this, I've got a couple of questions. I want to ask you also about like the culture in Turkey and how that's influenced you. But then you were studying all these instruments, and you tried a lot of different things, drums, singing, etc. And then you went to study sound engineering and sort of, was it composition?
Composition, yeah.
And when you went to do that, did you think, what did you want to do? Did you want to be like a film composer, or did you have like a goal in mind, or you just loved music and you just thought, yeah?
Well, I guess I always wanted to study music. I want to make music in my life, and the way I kind of convinced my parents was, I got interested in that as well at the time. But I wanted to be a lecturer. I wanted to stay at uni, so that's why I did my master's here, and then I was gonna do my PhD as well. But I got bored of studying, and I was like, if I want to do it, I'll come back to it. But that's how I started. Like, my career path in that was like to become a lecturer at the uni.
And like an academic. So that's really interesting. So would you say that you're quite interested not just in the creative output, which you're obviously like very interested in that, but also kind of like the science behind music a bit, or like like the science and the academic, the research of it, because PhD.
Well, I couldn't do it, but I was interested. I also liked sharing the knowledge, the information. Like, I think it's really important in our industry, especially. So I was interested in many things when I was studying, and like the more I discovered, the more I was like, okay, I'm gonna study this a bit more so that I can just like, yeah, I don't know, like use it in a way. But yeah.
And then obviously you're in a very specific part of the electronic music industry now. You've got like a very signature style and sound. How did you first get into raves? I know you said you were sort of partying in Istanbul, but yeah, what brought you in the rave culture? Did you have any inspiring experiences with the DJs where you like, yeah, how did you kind of get involved in the rave scene?
I think I started going out like clubbing when I was 17, almost 18. And back then, Istanbul was an amazing city to go out and party. Like we had like such diverse places. And yeah, I mean, most of the local artists were amazing talents, and we had like international artists, DJs were coming to Istanbul almost every weekend. So it was like really broad. You had a lot of choices, and I was like so into that. And probably because I was, again, like I was a listener and interested in electronic music, and I liked dancing. So that's how I got into it. But then because I was in the industry and I was like, most of my friends were either DJs or like musicians, so I was in that anyway, like in that industry for somehow.
Yeah, and do you feel like obviously you've been in London for 10 years now, and you've kind of experienced the club culture here versus the club culture in Istanbul. Like, I guess they're quite different. I mean, London's also a very diverse scene, but maybe in a different way. Do you think there's elements of the culture from Istanbul and Turkish culture that influences you artistically, or not so much?
I mean, of course, like when I was living in Istanbul, it shaped my musical taste quite a lot, and especially the era from like 2008 till 2012. Like it was an amazing time to be in Istanbul. Then when I came to the UK, I was lucky. I was living very close to Fabric when I first moved here. So I was almost, yeah, I was almost there every weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of experienced both sides, and there are similarities, of course. I would say probably in Istanbul back then. Right now, it's not comparable, probably, but yeah, back then, you had clubs like open until 2 p.m. the next day. So like
crazy parties,
yeah.
Which is such a rarity here in London. You know, like I guess we're lucky. Sometimes clubs stay open till 7 or 8 a.m., but they're not staying open like crazy 24-hour parties so often.
It's not the case anymore in Istanbul either, probably.
And you've been DJing. You host your own radio show on Nettle Radio, and you've been DJing for like the whole time basically since then. Is about 7 years now.
Yeah, it's going to be my 7th year in September.
And I thought that was kind of a funny story, actually, how you got into DJing. They just like that you just ended up going to the radio, and they were then. Well, yeah. Do you want to tell the story of how you got started?
So yeah, DJing came very like later in my life. So like I was a producer and I was a musician before, and I never, like, even if I was like surrounded by DJs, I never actually thought about being a DJ at the time. But yeah, anyway, so Nettle was just starting, and one of their very first residents was my friend, and I was just visiting him there. And yeah, I met the founders of the radio there, and then we just like randomly chatted about live music, and they saw my interest, and they were like, "Do you want to come and play next week?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." But then I was like, "What the hell did I just say?" Because I don't know, like I had never touched a CDJ before. Yeah. So yeah, actually, I have a very funny story. Like, don't try it, it doesn't work. But basically what I did when I got back home, I didn't have any DJ equipment, but I had a lot of production equipment. So I had a MIDI controller. So it's nothing to do with DJing.
Yeah.
It just controls MIDI. And the only similarity is like it just has some knobs and faders. But I was like, okay, maybe I can make it work and just like
Turn it into a mixer, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I linked it to Ableton, and I assigned Ableton's EQ to my MIDI controller, and I was like, oh, okay, I can just cut the bass and the high and stuff. But yeah, it just didn't work.
But you basically started out with live sets. You were like, let me just start doing a live set, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how did that first radio show go? Like, how was it? Like, was it fun or was it stressful?
It was stressful, but it did go okay. Not really well, but yeah, I mean, for the first show, I did my best. They liked it, and they were like, do you want to come next month as well? And I was like, yeah, sure. This time I have 1 month to practice. So I got my DJ controller at the time. So I was like bit matching properly. Like I started getting better. And then after that show, they offered me a residency. So since then, I'm with them.
And you've done a few guest editions on a few other big radio stations. Well, this is your first time at Bloop. So yeah, we're super happy to have you here today. And let's talk a bit about producing electronic music. So you were a producer before, but I guess you were not using Ableton as much, or...
Yeah, I was using Logic, actually.
Okay.
I started with Logic, and it took me a long time to kind of get used to Ableton after that.
Interesting. And like, why did you choose to switch out of curiosity? Like, what was the reason?
It wasn't a very conscious decision at the time, but now that I'm thinking, it works better this way, because when I was using Logic, I was mainly producing completely different genre. Like I was really into freeform noise music at the time, and I was like, yeah, I was in different field, and it worked really well. Like it was really easy manipulating sounds on Logic. But then I heard that, like, when I started thinking like, okay, I'm gonna produce dance music, so everybody was using Ableton, so I just why not, I'll just give it a try. So that started this way, but I was like, it was a torture in the beginning. Like I just
I get the feeling that like Ableton is one of those things that it's really hard at the start, but like it's super easy once you get the hang of it. Once you have like the workflow down, then it makes it very easy to produce quite complex music. And you've obviously had like a huge journey with that. Really excited to like the timing of having you here on the show today. You have your first big release coming out this Friday.
Yeah.
Right. And let's talk a little bit about that. I thought that was a really interesting story as well. So like you made a track and you sent it to a label as a demo, and that's the track that's coming out this Friday. But they actually wanted to sign a different like there was a story where they wanted to take a different track, so that's why this one's now coming out early. So
what happened is I've been producing for a very long time, and I never actually felt ready to send it to labels. So I was like, okay, this year I feel a bit more confident. So I just sent it to a few labels to get some feedback. And one of my like all-time favorites labels called Playground Records, based in Barcelona. They got back to me and they said, one of the tracks, we really liked it, we want to release it. And they do, so it's not an official release because it's just one track, but they also release tracks as a free download version. So it's going to be coming out as a free download this Friday.
But that one's also with the label, because I saw that it was coming out as a free download, so I didn't realize. So that's also with the same label as
it's with the same label.
Okay, that's great.
But then they were like, okay, we kind of agreed. I was very happy to be releasing it as a free download as well, and they wanted me to send a pre-master, and I was working on another track on that day, and I was like, another challenge. Okay, I'll finish that track tonight and send both of them, and just to get feedback, because I wasn't expecting anything at that point. And they were like, when I sent it, they just said like, we are in love with this track, so we want to release it in a compilation. So, and with one of my heroes again. So I was like, of course, like just take my tracks.
Yeah. That must have been such an amazing feeling, because it's like it's kind of like your first steps, right? Like you haven't released on lots of big labels, not like you've done, and you're already kind of sending something, and it's people that you've been really inspired by are turning around to you and they're saying, we love the music. So that must have been really exciting for you.
Yeah, I am very excited. Yeah.
And is there more in the works? Like, how's your back catalogue? Have you got more tracks sort of that you're now sending out, or any other releases lined up, or what's that looking like for you?
Yeah, so I have some tracks that are gonna be I don't know the dates, or it's not super like finalized, but we are considering right now. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be an EP, and it's coming out early next year. That's all I can say for now. Hopefully, but yeah, I'm still working on new tracks, and looking for their new homes.
And when you're producing, do you have any words of wisdom to share about like your process? Like when you're making a track, do you work really quickly and get down ideas, or are you like I'm gonna get most of it down in one long session kind of person, or how's your workflow and your approach to it?
I try not to have so much ideas before I start producing, but usually I have a specific one sound in mind that I want to kind of get close to that, and then everything builds up around that. And I think the only limitation I try to put in this, because it can get really messy when you have no plan, nothing, I just limit my channels. That because I was really bad at it before, so that's I learned it by experience.
And when you say bad, you mean like adding loads of channels?
Yeah, it
like
just
channels
sounds like
channels.
noise, nothing like you can't hear what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I just limit the number of channels I use, and also I try to stick with one or two synths for one track. So yeah, that really works for me.
Simplicity basically is the key to brilliance. Okay, and any other gigs or anything on the horizon so far? Or also like something to mention is that if you played abroad, or like you've done a bit more before the pandemic, right? Like as a DJ, you were kind of doing more, and then obviously the pandemic came and it sort of put the brakes on a lot of shows. And then you've sort of been re-emerging after the pandemic and playing in a few different shows and stuff. But yeah, what's next for you on the DJ front?
Yeah, nothing for London at the moment, but I'm going to be playing in Istanbul, I think around July time. I'll be there for like 1 or 2 weeks, and I'll just, play in different venues.
Amazing. Well, last question then. Something I like to ask every guest basically on the show about their personal experience in the music industry, because music industry is just like a crazy place to be like working, trying to be an artist and everything. And I just wanted to ask you, how do you take care of yourself in this space? It's kind of an open question. You can, it's not like, it'd be like mental health, or, there's like obviously pressure coming from social media. There's pressure coming from performance, all this kind of stuff. What do you do to like, thrive, be your best self?
Well, I don't know.
It's a big question. It's a big question. But like, as in, would you agree that like the music industry, like being an artist and wanting to make music and be a creative person is so different to like existing in the music industry? The two things are like not the same.
Yeah. I mean, so, well, I think in general, I just try to focus on what I have, like my goals, and I just try to, like, I'm seeing other people getting amazing gigs and releasing amazing tracks, and I'm just like, okay, I want to be that person one day. And but it may take more time for me. I'm doing my own journey, and it's not easy. But yeah, I just try to focus on that. And sometimes when I'm producing, like, I just can't get the idea out, like, and it's very frustrating. And I just stop making music for like months and then I come back to it. Or with DJing as well, like if I feel like it's affecting my mental health too much, I'll just take a bit back step and be like, okay, I'll just focus on something else, and when I feel better, it's gonna come back naturally again. So I just do simple things like just be in the moment, spend time with friends, my dog. It works for me.
Yeah, Meltem has like the cutest dog ever, guys. Like you need to check her Instagram for little dog snippets. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really normal to go through like peaks and troughs of creativity. You can't be like making stuff all the time, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, well, I'm really keen to get into some music now for the remainder of the show. Got like about half an hour, I think, left to hear a mix from you. So yeah, thank you so much for being here with us. How can people find you? Like, how do they follow your Instagram or your SoundCloud, etc.? Do you want to just drop your handles for people?
Yeah. I was like, what was my handle? Yeah, for Instagram, it's Meltem Yazar, and then 3 hyphens, I think. Yeah, if you write Meltem Yazar, my name, you're going to see it. And you may also notice that MY is also my name as well on Instagram. And same with SoundCloud. If you type Meltem Yazar or MY, maybe Meltem Yazar is a better option here. You can find me. And
we'll also have posts of the show on my account. You guys follow the show, so you probably know it's Redfreya DJ, and we'll have the track list of the show up as well online afterwards. So yeah, now we'll get into some music and get locked, guys.
über Sally, Sally über Molly.
loop, 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 London, 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 London.
turned on the wrong microphone. Technical difficulties. Yeah, we're just wrapping up the show now. If you have listened all the way through, thanks so much. It's been an amazing guest mix from Meltem Yazar. She is fabulous. Please go give her a follow on Instagram, follow on SoundCloud, check out her mixes, podcast, and watch this space because she's got big releases coming out over the upcoming months. Definitely one to watch. We will be back in a few weeks' time on the Urban Soundscapes show. I am Redfreya DJ. You can find more info on the Bloop shows, Urban Soundscapes, playlists, etc. from my Instagram, and there'll be also the track list from this show as well.